What is up, guys? Pup T from Life, Liberty, and the Homestead. And on today's video, I need to mow the grass, but I'm also going to give you an update on the Kubota BX23s. Yeah, baby. So let's get it started. Woo! So before we hop on the BX23s, yeah, baby, I got to take care of Bo. I did find out she has a little bit of a wound on that back hoof of hers. So I'm going to go ahead, treat that. I got some gauze, some hydrogen peroxide, a little bit of blue spray, and then I'm going to put a little bandage on it, dress it, check it every day, and hopefully she'll make a full recovery. So we're going to talk about the BX23 Sierra, baby. So let me put some specifications up here for you. Check that out. That's right, that's right. Woo, fancy editing, baby. And don't forget you can get your Life, Liberty, and the Homestead shirts linked down below, just in case you didn't know. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to talk about is the wheelbase. So the wheelbase is 4.5 feet long. Your ground clearance is rated at 0.7 inches, so it seems fairly low, but I haven't had any issues with it. I'm guessing that's just based off of the axles and not the floorboard of the actual Kubota. The front tread range is 36.62 inches and the rear tread range is 32.29 inches. What's that mean? I don't know. Like I said, I'm not a tractor guy. I don't know. So the next thing is going to be the width of the tractor. So the width of the tractor is 45 and almost an inch. So it's like 45 and a eighth of an inch or whatever. You know, if you're going through something, there's been plenty of times where I thought I was going to make through something that I was wide enough, and actually it's things on the tractor itself, as far as like the caution sign that comes with the tractor. It hangs off the side just a little bit, So you can remove those if you want. Mine's been ripped off the backhoe. I still have the one. I have the bracket on the tractor. I just don't have the sign on the tractor, but I don't take it on the road, so it's not that big of a deal. The overall length with the 3-point hitch system is 8.26 feet. So, you know, it's under 8.5 feet, but the length, I haven't had any issues with the length, honestly, because of the size of it. You can put it on, you know, really a 5x8 trailer, you know, if you just set the bucket up, and the bucket's removable too. So I mean, that's pretty awesome. And even your 3-point hitch system, you know, I talked about it before with the backhoe, you don't have the 3-point hitch system on the tractor. So when you switch and you're going to use like your brush hog and your box blade, anything else that utilizes the PTO, chances are you're going to have the 3-point hitch system on there. But it is removable. You know, once you put it on there, taking it off is fairly simple. Take you 10 minutes maybe, you know, 10 minutes put it back on when you got to use it. But putting the backhoe on is a little bit more difficult. But we're not talking about that today. All right, I'm going to give you some more specifications. Dang. Bees always trying to get me, man. Always. Crazy. So height with the ROP system, which is going to be your safety bar that goes across, is about 7 feet 2 inches roughly. It's a little bit under, but that's what it's about. All right, so now we'll get into the engine. And the engine PTO horsepower is 7.7 horsepower. Again, I haven't had any issues whatsoever with it. You know, if you run over like thick grass or thick brush, you will hear it wind down, which is a good thing because you don't want to, you know, shear your PTO drive or anything like that. So if it's a little bit too much for it, it'll slow down, and then once it gets through it to where it clears it, it'll ramp right back up. The engine make is a Kubota. The engine model is the D902. The engine type is a liquid cooled 3-cylinder diesel. I mean, again, I haven't had any problems with it. And earlier in this video, I told you I had 82 hours. Well, I just spent 2 hours mowing the grass, and I'm at 84 hours. And I haven't had any issues with the engine, but I will talk about something that I do have an issue with, and maybe it's something on my part, or it might be a Kubota issue, I'm not sure. So the gross power of the Kubota is 23 horsepower. Now your power measured at 3,200 RPMs, and displacement 58.8 cubic inches. So what that means, displacement, I don't know. I'm not a mechanic. All right, so let's get into some operational stuff. The fuel capacity is a 6.6 gallon tank. It runs for quite some time on 6.6 gallons. It just, you know, depends how you're running it. If you have it in 4-wheel drive, you know, going up and down hills, stuff like that. Of course, we all know that. Same with a vehicle. You know, you get better gas mileage on the highway than you do regular roads. The operating weight on 4-wheel drive is 1,569.7 pounds. So 1,570 pounds thereabout is the operating weight in 4-wheel drive. The 3-point hitch type is optional, which means you can get the Kubota's regular 3-point hitch system, or you can get a quick hitch system. Totally up to you what you want to do. If you go with a quick hitch system, make sure that you look at all the accessories that you plan on utilizing with the Kubota, like your brush hog and stuff like that, are quick hitch accessible as far as they can utilize it, because there are there's no standard on the 3-point hitch system, and that's why like the Kubota 3-point hitch system has give and take in it, right? With the quick hitch system, it's just there, you back up into it, it locks in, you're good to go. So if you are going to get into something like that, make sure you do know that whatever implements that you get, that they can also utilize the quick hitch system. So the 3-point hitch lift capabilities at 24 inches is 683.5 pounds. So the turning radius to the BX23s, yeah baby, is 7.5 feet. So I mean, that's a pretty tight turn if you think about it. Your vehicle generally doesn't turn that tight unless you got one of those little Fiats, right? Fiat 500. So I mean, overall, just driving it around, stuff like that, it's real easy. You can really get into some tight spots and get and maneuver around. Of course, unless you got that brush hog on. Boy, I forget it's back there sometimes. Go to make a turn, I hit something on that brush hog. Drives me crazy sometimes. PTO option available, live independent PTO with hydraulic clutch. The transmission type HST, or I believe you can get a high-low gear shift, 2 forward, 1 reverse, and the HST and that could be exactly the same. So like I said, I'm new to the tractors and stuff, but I'm just giving you my take on the stuff. But I believe I have the HST where you just push to go forward, and it's got a pedal in the back. You push it and it goes in reverse. So max speed forward is 8.4 miles per hour. In reverse is 6.6 miles per hour. I will tell you, generally, I feel like I'm going faster backwards than I do forward. But I mean, 8.4 miles per hour, I mean, it seems like you're getting it, even though obviously you're really not. But I think that is where, like, going up hills and stuff like that even can be a little bit of a challenge, because it doesn't have a lot of speed to it. So maybe that's why it takes a little while to get up a hill. Again, I don't know, it could be the transmission itself and the gears inside of it. So alright, so the front tires, you can get different ones. So I mean, I don't know which specific ones I have, but 18 by 8.5, 10 for the front, and 26 by 12 12s in the rear. Again, I don't know which ones I got. I know they just got a lot of tread on them. It's not the ones for like just regular grass that you'll see on like a lawnmower, although you can get those if that's what you want to use. So it just really depends on where you're using your tractor and stuff like that, because when it does get wet out in the more like mud tires that like I have, they bite into the ground, so they can leave divots in your ground. On my Homestead, I'm okay with that. Alright, so hydraulic, and this is where I want to talk about the only thing that I find that is an issue. And again, it could be completely me, could be Kubota. Maybe one of you out there has a solution. Maybe one of you know the reasoning behind it. And if you do, please leave a comment down below or shoot me an email. My email's down below, and let me know why it does this, or if that's normal even. But so like my issue is with the hydraulics, and after about 2 days of use, whether it's the front end bucket, brush hog, box blade, and most definitely when I use the backhoe, it seems like I have to fill up the hydraulic fluid quite a bit. So, and again, I don't know if that's me or if that's, you know, just a natural thing. Maybe I have a leak. I don't know. Like, I have seen some fluid on the ground, and then I can move the Kubota, do whatever, and then I don't see any fluid leaking. But, you know, maybe I filled it up and then, you know, there's no fluid leaking. So I don't know. That's the only issue that I have with the Kubota BX23s. Yeah, baby. Is I feel like I'm filling up the hydraulic fluid maybe more than normal. But again, I'm brand new to tractors, so maybe it's a common thing. I check it every time before I take it out, you know, so if it's low, you know, top it off or whatnot. So, and then last, the brake types, it's a wet disc. I haven't had any issues with stopping or going. How I feel about the BX23s. Yeah, baby. So I have loved it since the beginning, since we first got it. When it came to us, it had the backhoe attached on it, but it also came with the box blade, and it came with the brush hog. So in the beginning, I used that backhoe a ton. Now, it's a small backhoe, but it can do a lot. Like, I had 3 stumps in the ground, and I literally dug around all 3 of those stumps and actually removed 2 of those stumps just with the backhoe bucket itself. So when it comes to the capabilities of that backhoe, as long as it's small projects, yes, I definitely would recommend it. You know, if you gotta do a trench line for a septic system, or I don't know, like I did, dig holes for trees. The box blade, I was brand new to tractors all the way. You know, I knew there was a leveling system that's on your 3-point hitch so that you can level your box blade, and so you can level your bush hog and all that other stuff. The brush hog, right? It's taken me a good bit of time to get used to it. With that is like, I didn't know that the back end needed to be higher than the front end, right? I was trying to level it out, and I always wondered why that tire, I just could never get it to be where I wanted it, right? It would either be too high or way too low, and then the front end would be up and then the back end would be up. But I didn't realize on a brush hog that you want that back end up, and that way when the grass and the brush is getting cut up, it has a way to go around and then out versus just being stuck in there. And that also helps you save on gas, because that's what I noticed too, is when I had it level, like I couldn't mow the grass or do any brush hogging on just one tank of gas. I had to fill up halfway through, I guess, maybe even less than that. So learning how that brush hog worked, you know, was a learning curve. And I'm not trying to insult anybody's intelligence. If you knew that, great. I wish somebody would have shared that with me before, because I honestly had no clue that's what you had to do. I use the brush hog as like our lawnmower, and the reason for that is I don't need the grass on the Homestead to be super low and fine and all this other stuff. I want it with a little bit, you know, of length to it, so that, you know, all the animals, not just on the Homestead, but even, you know, the ones from the timber, if they come out, they have a place to hide, or they have some thick, lush grass that they can forage through. So front end bucket, I mean, everything that I've asked it to do, dig a hole, I mean, even pull something, you know, with the front end bucket, or lift something, it's done it all. The only thing I would say, because of the size of the tractor, is it only lifts so high, right? And, you know, messing with stuff on this pole barn, some of that stuff, you know, gets 12 feet high. Not that I have to lift the bucket up that high, but, you know, it goes up 8 feet or whatever it is. So just keep that in mind when you're looking at your tractors and which one you want, is the capabilities of it, right? You want to look at your cost and what you can afford, but make sure you're going to be able to utilize it on your Homestead. So like, if I had 30, I mean, we have 35 acres, but if it was 35 acres of, you know, just acreage, there was no timber or whatever, we wouldn't have gotten the BX23 Sierra, because that tractor is way too small to do probably the amount of work that we would have needed to do on 35 acres. But with my farm number and the parcel tract that it says that it's 7 acres is, or excuse me, it says 4 acres. 4 acres is what we have that, you know, is plantable, is usable for like farmland. So 4 acres, yeah, I mean, the BX23 Sierra, recommend. I mean, it's the bee's knees. We haven't had any issues with it. I have about 82 hours on it right now, so I've used the snot out of it. You know, I talked to one of the guys at the Kubota dealer, and I was like, oh, you know, we got to turn it in for services at 100 hours. He's like, yeah. He goes, you won't do 100 hours. You know, it might take you 2 or 3 years. Well, it looks like it's going to take less than a year. So again, I use it. I mean, it's a tool on the Homestead that can do many tasks. I talked about before, moving the feed from the truck over to the pole barn. You know, I can drive my truck over here, but if I'm out and about and I got the tractor, I can easily load that stuff up, and the tractor I can bring all the way up into the pole barn. So that's a bonus to it. If I'm going out into the timber, and I'm taking a chainsaw or whatever it happens to be, I put that stuff in the bucket and I drive out to the timber and I'm good to go. Now I have had some trouble sometimes going up some of the hills that we have back there, but they're pretty steep, so that's not a knock on the BX23. That's just literally the grade of that hill is fairly steep. I mean, even some of those going up on the four-wheeler, you know, I have to be very cautious when doing so. So the brush hog, like I said, it's been amazing. It cuts what I need it to cut. You know, it'll get into all the weeds, cut them down. You know, I suppose you could cut, you know, small saplings. I don't do it unless it's just inadvertently when I'm cutting weeds down. I don't purposely try to get onto little saplings or anything like that, because of course I don't want to damage it, right? And then on top of that, I have the weed eater that I can use with that like chainsaw blade on it. So the backhoe, again, like I said, the backhoe, it's amazing. Is it practical or something that you absolutely need? Like if you go down to get a BX series tractor, is that something that you will need? I don't know. I'm using it a little bit less than I thought I would use it, but at the same time, you know, I still got to utilize it where I'm gonna make this small little pond, so I'm gonna need it for that. I mean, I can't dig out an entire pond, you know, that's, you know, a quarter acre or anything like that, but this is just gonna be like a small watering hole and to help erosion and stuff like that. So I'll be utilizing it here probably closer to fall when I do that. But I mean, it'll work for that. I'm gonna have to do septic stuff, you know, digging trench lines. It works for that. I mean, digging holes for trees, like I said, it works for that. I mean, it's been an amazing tractor. So my overall take on the BX23 Sierra, like I said in my video, is it worth the money? Yes, it is worth the money. I have enjoyed it. It has done everything that I could ask of it. So overall, if you were looking for a small homestead tractor, all right, BX23 Sierra from Kubota, I recommend. You know, that's my view, it's my opinion, but I haven't had any issues other than, like I said, with the hydraulic fluid, and that could be totally me. That might not be, you know, a Kubota issue. It could be a me issue. So I mean, I love the thing. Y'all should get one if, if you got a small homestead. You know, I would say a guesstimate, if you had anything under 10 acres, that would be great. If you have 10 acres and you're planting crops on, you know, 8 or 9 of those acres, you probably want to go up. But, you know, if you're planting crops on 4 acres or less, I mean, it'd be perfect for you, I believe. And it's not super expensive. Kubota has great financing if you want to go through them, you know, so I mean, I recommend it. I give it a thumbs up. Can you give my video a thumbs up? I appreciate it. So that's gonna be it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Got to see me mow just a little bit, but the big part of this was giving you some specifications of the BX23 Sierra and giving you an update on how I feel about it. And again, you know, is it worth the money? Absolutely. So one last time, guys, hit that subscribe button. Give me a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs down. Give me some wild comments. Y'all are crazy. I love you. We love you. Link to the shirt down below. And we'll see you on the next video.